The story begins in a snow-covered landscape where a man named Captain Ejnar is traveling on a sled pulled by dogs, accompanied by his companion, Lieutenant Jorgensen, who is unwell. They were in Greenland, where the extreme cold had caused Jorgensen's leg to freeze. The events actually started in 1909, when America made a claim regarding the region. It was said that between Greenland and Denmark, there was a water body. America argued that Denmark could not solely claim Greenland, and the part of the water body within Greenland should belong to Denmark, while the other part should be under American control. Since this area remained frozen throughout the year, it was impossible to determine from the outside which nation the region truly belonged to, or whether there was even a water body at all. To verify this, Captain Einar, along with a 6-member team, was sent to a place called Alabama, near Greenland. Although the team reached the vicinity, only Captain Ejnar and one companion ventured into the specific frozen area. Unfortunately, before achieving their goal, Jorgensen's leg froze, necessitating the amputation of his toes. Their first journey was unsuccessful. Captain Ejnar was not one to give up easily. He decided to make another attempt to save Greenland, as he had discovered that previous explorers had mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind no trace. However, he found a diary and a map, which he planned to use to search deeper into Greenland for a stone mound that could provide proof of the water body's existence and national ownership. Einar needed a companion for this second journey, but the other team members refused due to the severe danger and high risk of death. Finally, a man named Ivar agreed to join him. For Ivar, this was all new. He had never been to Greenland. With Ivar as his companion, Captain Einar began the journey with only their sled dogs and the snow-covered peaks around them, enduring temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius. Every day, they crossed icy peaks and set up camp at night to rest. Thus 26 days have passed. While Captain Einar was used to such conditions, it was an entirely new and thrilling experience for Ivar. However, sometimes thrilling experiences come with challenges. One day, due to a small mistake by Ivar, one of the dogs fell into an icy chasm, along with some essential supplies. From that moment, what had been an adventure started to feel daunting for Ivar, as he realized that even a minor error could have grave consequences, just as it had for the dog. 48 days passed this way. In such a mountainous, frigid region, even cleaning dishes required breaking ice for water. Sea routes to the area were only navigable between July and August, as the water froze completely afterward. The further they advanced on the map, the more challenging their journey became. Their food supply was dwindling, forcing them to ration and skip meals. Hunger began to push them to the brink of desperation. Ivar, an animal lover who detested harming creatures, eventually found himself killing one of the dogs to feed the others. 84 days into the journey, their food supply was entirely depleted, prompting them to change their route and continue with a single sled instead of 2. After enduring great hardship, they finally spotted a small stone mound. It was the very landmark Captain Ejnar had set out to find. Inside, they found leftover provisions and a tin containing a letter dated August 8, 1907. The letter was written by the first explorers who had come to Greenland. They described how their strength had waned, leaving them unable to make the 580-mile journey back to their ship. After going without food for so long, they were overjoyed to find these supplies. However, they were still extremely weak and faced a shortage of food. So, Ivar set out to hunt an animal for food. Just then, he heard a noise from behind. It turned out to be a giant bear that had come to hunt them for its own meal. The bear pounced directly on the captain, and it was impossible for him to fight it off. At that moment, Ivar shot the bear. After taking several bullets, the bear, along with the captain, fell into the icy water. Ivar then rushed to pull the captain out. During this time, the captain was slightly injured. On the other hand, due to the extreme cold, lack of food, and the bear attack, all the dogs died. At that time, they were still about 200 miles away from the ship, so the captain burned all unnecessary and heavy items. By then, they had spent 164 days in Greenland. While coming to this place had been arduous and difficult, the journey back turned out to be even more perilous. The captain began to fear that they might not reach the ship. At one point, he accepted that they might die there at any moment. So, before death, they built a small cairn out of stones and left all the evidence they had found within it. Now there was only one option left: to reach the ship as quickly as possible. Using a rope, they managed to cross some more distance. After much effort and perseverance, they finally arrived at Alabama, where the ship was supposed to be. But when they got there, they found the area entirely covered in ice, with no sign of the ship. Not far from there, they saw a small cabin built. At first, they thought their companions might have built it and could be inside. But upon entering, they found that there was nothing in the cabin except the structure itself. This meant that their companions had left, unable to stay in such extreme cold. To survive, they built a cabin there, stored a year's worth of food supplies, and left the area. When they returned, they reported everything to the Danish government. However, Lieutenant Jorgensen, who had accompanied the captain on the first trip to Greenland, urged the government to send a rescue team for the captain and Ivar. But the government did not want to spend any more money on the mission. Time passed and 242 days went by. The government assumed that the captain and Ivar had died. On the other hand, with no way to return, the captain and Ivar began to live in the cabin. This event shattered Ivar completely. He lost confidence. But the captain reassured him that eventually a ship would come to rescue them. To escape loneliness and despair, they became good friends, sharing their likes, dislikes, and life experiences with each other. At one point, the captain decided that since they had reached Alabama, they should go back to the cairn where they had left the evidence. Since they had made it to Alabama, they began to worry that wild bears or snowfall might destroy the evidence. The evidence had been obtained by risking their lives. On the 439th day, they reached the cairn again and retrieved the evidence. On the 471st day, they returned to Alabama with the evidence. By that time, much of the ice around Alabama had melted. When they returned, they found that a rescue team had been sent to save them. However, while they were retrieving the evidence, the team had not found them and had left, thinking they had died. The team left behind a letter indicating that a rescue attempt had been made in case anyone arrived later. This event devastated them. Lieutenant Jorgensen made another request to the government for a second rescue team, but the government stated that this was their final attempt and that they would not send anyone else, believing that both men had perished. Despite being disheartened, Ivar and the captain tried to remain mentally strong. Thus, 793 days passed. The captain began to seem lost in another world, hallucinating about his beloved Naya. Eventually, Captain Ejnar lost his sanity completely. His throat began to rot due to the wound inflicted during the bear attack. One day, another meat-eating bear appeared and tried to break into their cabin, but once again, they survived by using their quick thinking. Thus, 865 days passed. Finally, some days later, Lieutenant Jorgensen returned with more people to rescue them. After fighting a harrowing battle against the elements for more than 2.5 years, they were finally rescued. Captain Ejnar's dream was fulfilled. He had succeeded in one of the most terrifying missions of his life. Greenland was saved from American claims due to the efforts of Captain Ejnar and Ivar. Both men were brought back to healthy lives. The two brave heroes who returned from Greenland were honored accordingly. Along with the success, Captain Ejnar was reunited with his beloved Naha. And so, after defying all odds, their story became a timeless testament to resilience and the boundless power of hope. The movie ends here, but their legacy lives on. It's amazing to think that this event actually happened in real life, and the movie was made based on that true story. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.